It's time for another crazy set of Premier League predictions. Now, last week was a bit crazy in terms of some of the results, not expected. So, Bournemouth beating Forest 5-0. I thought that was going to be a tight game, and Bournemouth blew them away. Everton beat Brighton, which you could argue, yes, David Moyes is in and he'll solidify them, but away at Brighton, tough fixture. Liverpool, Newcastle, obviously normal. Arsenal sneak past Wolves. Man City in a big game against Chelsea got a good win. Brentford beat Palace 2-1 away from home though, so you probably would have favoured a draw or Palace. Leicester away at Tottenham with a win. Villa being held by West Ham. Man United getting a 1-0 win over Fulham. So, there's 3 or 4 results that or scores that you might not have thought of there at all. So yeah, tough one. On to this week. As we can see from the table, Liverpool still sit top, 53 points. I did see a stat that away from home, they've only played 3 of the other sides in the top 10, and they haven't won any of them. They're away at Bournemouth today. And Bournemouth, we know about their form. They beat Newcastle 4-1, Forest 5-0. So they are going all out for it. And you look at that team of the week over here. Look, Semenyo, Tyler Adams, Kluivert, and Dango Utara, all in that team of the week. So going forward, they were unreal in that game. And Utara obviously getting a hat-trick in that as well. Arsenal kind of staying in touching distance of Liverpool, but you just think Liverpool look a bit more convincing, so I don't really fancy Arsenal for the title. Forest, obviously I don't fancy them for the title. They had a tough game. It's just about how they bounce back. They'd rather lose 1-5-0 and then go and win the next game than lose them both 1-0 because you end up with more points. So yes, the performance was not great against Bournemouth at all, but go and rectify it today is the main goal, and they are the early kick-off against Brighton. Man City, obviously this was reading quite a few losses and draws. However, wins now, 4 wins out of 5 with a draw in the middle. They're starting to come into form. They've got some new players. Marmoush looked very good against Chelsea. Didn't register a goal or an assist. He did have a goal disallowed, but he looked like a beacon of creativity. It was like having, they got rid of Julian Alvarez, didn't really replace him. It was like getting someone in that sort of mould back into the side. So I think he's going to be brilliant for them. But they face Arsenal this weekend away, so that is going to be a big game. Newcastle, obviously keeping up their good form, bouncing back after that loss against Bournemouth, and maintaining a spot near the top 4. They're just outside of it on goal difference. And the race, you've got Chelsea and Bournemouth, both 1 point off the top 4. Villa, 4 points off it. And then you probably go down to Brighton and think, okay, they're not consistent enough. They don't win enough. So, yeah, they're probably not in that race. Villa have just lost John Duran. Maybe that's going to weaken them and mean they're not going to be able to keep up with some of these teams. I think top 4 is going to be very difficult, but Bournemouth, really, the way they're ripping teams apart, they look very, very good. If they can maintain anything near the standard they've had, they'll be in the hunt for the European places. Not saying Champions League, but they could be up there, especially when you've got typical teams like Man United and Spurs, who qualified for Europe last season, but now they're sitting in the bottom half of the table. So that really opens the gate for some other sides. If we look at the fixtures, not going to go into too much detail on the games, but Forest-Brighton, I think Forest will bounce back. Brighton are that side where you predict them to do one thing and they always do the opposite. There's no consistency there at all. Just when you think they're good, they'll go and lose to... They're going to draw against Southampton like they did, or, something along those lines. So I'm going to go Forest 2-1. Bournemouth-Liverpool, probably game of the weekend. Unfortunately, for viewers at home, it's a 3 o'clock, so you won't be able to watch it. But for match day fans, they are going to have a brilliant time at this one, I'd imagine. And I'm just going to put it all out on the line and go for Bournemouth to win 3-2. Liverpool will get the goals, but away from home, as I said, against any sides in the top 10 they've played, 3 of them, they have conceded in every game and they haven't won any of them. So, with the goal scoring form Bournemouth are in, expect goals in this. So 3-2 is my prediction. Everton v Leicester. Now, Leicester got that win against Spurs, but everyone beats Spurs at the moment. I think they've picked up 4 points from their last 10 games. Everton, they are back at it really under Moyes. Looking at their fixtures since he's came in, they had the 3-2 win over Spurs and a 1-0 win against Brighton. So, yeah, I think they lost the one to Villa. I think he was in for that one, potentially. But yeah, they're defensively sound. I mean, they were 3-0 up against Spurs at half time, so they're getting the job done. So I'm going to go for Everton to win 1-0. On to Ipswich against Southampton. Now, big game. I mean, not that I can see Southampton climbing out of where they are, but a win would take them to 9 points. It would keep Ipswich in that little battle with them. But they'd still be minimum 10 points from safety. It's just not. It's not going to happen unless they have an unreal second half of the season. Southampton are down, so Ipswich need to get 3 points here. This is a must. It will really help them in their fight for survival. They have lost 3 in a row, but a win takes them to 19 points and, potentially out of the relegation zone, dependent on other fixtures. But yeah, they just need to start getting wins. And to be honest, Everton aren't in the relegation battle. Spurs, they won't be in it. They've got enough. They'll have players come back from injury and they'll be fine, obviously. And West Ham and Palace, they'll be fine. So, really, it's between Ipswich, Wolves and Leicester for 2 places, I think. It would be nice to see one of the sides stay up that came up. Obviously, Ipswich would be the one that a lot of neutrals would want to stay up just for the story and what Kieran McKenna's done for them. Wolves, I really think, with the way the owners are treating the club, not reinvesting money, buying loads of strikers that they don't really need, because they just seem to invest in attacking players when they clearly needed defenders in the summer. To be honest, I think they have a decent chance of going down, but they've got the quality. It's just they're not performing massively. So yeah, Ipswich need the 3 points, and I think they'll get it. I'm going to go for a 2-1. Newcastle Fulham. Now, brilliant form from Newcastle. Fulham have also been pretty good, sitting 10th at the moment. Fulham's away form, again, won 2 of their last 3, pretty good. Newcastle at home, decent, 6 wins from 11, only lost 3. So I can see a 2-1 win to Newcastle. On to Wolves Villa. I think Wolves will get something. This is a fixture, and plus Ollie Watkins, there's still links of him with Arsenal, so maybe there's distraction there. Emery shut them down, but I think Wolves do like to get a point in this game. It ends in a draw often in recent history, if I'm remembering correctly. The last 2 games Villa won, but before that, draw, Wolves, draw, Villa, Wolves. Yeah, so last season it was Villa twice, but before that it was Wolves and draws. I think it'll just be a feisty affair that ends in probably there being a red card at some point and 1-1. So we'll go for that. Brentford Spurs. Right. Brentford to win 3-2. Brentford, obviously, home form. Dropped off a little bit recently. Lost 3 of their last 4, actually. But, Spurs at the moment just can't catch a break. They still don't have any players back from injury. They've got no defenders. So yeah, we'll go for 3-2 to Brentford. Man United Palace has 1-1 written all over it for some reason for me, so we'll go for that. Arsenal Man City. this is City's chance to pull themselves kind of into this title race. They're 6 points off Arsenal. Obviously, they're 12 off Liverpool, and Liverpool have a game in hand. But as we mentioned earlier, Liverpool not great so far away from home against top half sides. So they're going to have a lot of those games to come up because they've only played 3 of them. So potentially that's where it evens out. Maybe they get a few draws, a few losses in there, and then that could mean other sides catch up. So Arsenal obviously could do with winning to keep the pressure on Liverpool, but if Liverpool don't win, then it's not the end of the day if Arsenal don't win the game. Man City, good form recently. If they don't win this, they're potentially going to be 14 points behind Liverpool with a game in hand if Liverpool go and win and City draw. So City need to win. They could do with Liverpool slipping up as well if they really want to be in the title race. But yeah, first things first, City have got to go and win this game. Do I see it happening? I'm not sure. Arsenal not having Saka is just... and Man City now having Marmoush and that flair and that excitement is actually swinging it in favour of that happening. I'm going to go... I originally had a 2-2 draw, but I'm actually going to go for Man City to win it 2-1. And Chelsea-West Ham is our final game. And this one, Potter, the return of Graham, maybe that will lean something towards the result and make West Ham get something. Since he's came in, their first game was that cup game, wasn't it, against Villa? So they did lose that, but then they beat Fulham, lost to Palace, drew with Villa. So not bad. Chelsea's a step too far. Chelsea not winning games recently though. Won 1 of their last 5. But we will go for a 2-1 win to Chelsea to round off these predictions. Make sure to like and subscribe. Get your predictions down below. And I'll see you next time.